Just 6 weeks into her new job, Liz Truss has succumbed to mounting political pressure and resigned as Prime Minister, making her the shortest serving leader in UK history. But how does she go from triumph to turmoil so quickly?
I have just accepted Her Majesty the Queen's kind invitation to form a new government. Truss
became Prime Minister on September the 6th after winning a Conservative Party leadership contest. She wasn't elected by the general public and, in a twist now seen as highly relevant, the final say wasn't given to MPs in her own party either. Instead, the winner of the head-to-head vote between former Foreign Secretary Liz Truss and former Chancellor of the Exchequer Rishi Sunak was chosen by Conservative Party members. During the leadership debates, Sunak had accused Truss of fairy tale economics with her promise of unfunded tax cuts. Sunak also warned Truss's economic policy could cause an inflationary spiral and would mean increasing borrowing to historic and dangerous levels, putting the public finances in serious jeopardy. But despite the damning indictment by the former Chancellor, it was Truss's radical vision for the economy that helped her win over 57.4% of voting Conservative Party members, a comfortable, albeit smaller than expected, margin of victory. The first weeks of Truss's prime ministership were, admittedly, shaped by events beyond her control.
We are all devastated by the news that we have just heard from Balmoral. The death of Her Majesty the Queen is a huge shock to the nation and to the world.
Queen Elizabeth II died just days after Truss's first meeting as Prime Minister, with tributes and funeral preparations dominating the news for weeks.
The next year's planned increase in corporation tax will be cancelled.
But on September the 23rd, Truss's newly appointed Chancellor, Kwasi Kwarteng, delivered a so-called mini-budget that shocked the markets. Explaining the specific steps he planned to take in the hope of inspiring dramatic growth in the UK, Kwarteng revealed $45 billion in tax cuts, funded by government debt.
Now, in the last few days, we've seen the pound fall, we've seen the cost of government borrowing rocket. Has your mini-budget been a major economic disaster?
The announcement spooked investors who saw no credible plan to get UK debt falling in the long term, and who were extremely concerned that, with the UK already having the highest interest rates in the G7, such borrowing during a period of sky-high inflation could send the economy into a death spiral. As a result of the turmoil, the pound plunged to historic lows against an already strong dollar, and the cost of government borrowing rocketed, forcing the Bank of England to step in with a bond buying plan designed to steady the markets.
We will not hesitate to raise interest rates to meet the inflation target. And as things stand today, my best guess is that inflationary pressures will require a stronger response than we perhaps thought in August.
While the bank's intervention did help to stabilise matters somewhat, it quickly became obvious that markets had little confidence in Truss and Kwarteng's radical economic vision, and that something had to give.
You'll be Chancellor and Liz Truss will be Prime Minister this time next month?
Absolutely 100%. I'm not going anywhere.
Just hours after declaring he was going nowhere, Kwarteng was sacked as Chancellor of the Exchequer on Friday, October the 14th.
I'm going to interrupt because he's out. He's been sacked. So Kwasi Kwarteng, the Chancellor, he can only have been in with Liz Truss for a matter of 10, 15 minutes, if we understood the timing correctly. He's gone.
With just 38 days in the job, Kwarteng became the second shortest serving UK Chancellor since World War II, behind only Ian MacLeod, who died of a heart attack in 1970, just 30 days into his tenure. Truss swiftly appointed two-time Conservative leadership hopeful Jeremy Hunt to the role of Chancellor, in a move widely interpreted as an attempt to bring more authority and stability to the government.
The government has today decided to make further changes to the mini-budget.
On Monday, October the 17th, Hunt reversed £32 billion of cuts from the mini-budget to try to balance the government's books. Despite this, he must still find billions more in savings, with the UK now facing the prospect of significant cuts to public services. The latest predictions suggest the government still faces a £60 billion black hole in public finances following Kwarteng's mini-budget last month.
I've got the list here. 45p tax cut, gone. Corporation tax cut, gone. 20p tax cut, gone. 2-year energy freeze, gone. Tax-free shopping, gone. Economic credibility, gone.
With Labour surging to a huge 36-point poll lead over the Conservatives, with less than 2 years until the next general election, the calls for Liz Truss to resign grew and grew over the past week. And it didn't help that on Monday, October the 17th, Truss missed the start of a House of Commons session discussing the state of the economy and the sacking of Kwarteng, with Penny Mordaunt forced to deny that the Prime Minister was hiding under a desk to avoid it.
Well, the Prime Minister is not under a desk, as the Honourable Lady. With regret, she is not here for a very good reason.
When Truss eventually did arrive in the chamber, she was met by a clamour of jeers and heckles from opposition MPs. It was later claimed that the Prime Minister had been delayed as she'd been in a meeting with powerful backbencher Graham Brady, leader of the 1922 committee and the man to whom letters of no confidence in the Prime Minister are sent. But it was Wednesday, October the 19th, when things really came to a head for Truss. Early in the afternoon, another senior member of Liz Truss's cabinet, Home Secretary Suella Braverman, dramatically resigned. Although her departure was, officially at least, over a security issue relating to official documents being sent from a personal email address, Braverman's blistering resignation letter contained a not-so-vowed barb about the need for politicians to take responsibility and quit when they make serious errors of judgment. Within minutes of the letter being released, numerous political observers took to social media to say that Braverman had, in fact, had a blazing row with the Prime Minister over the direction of the government, and that was the real reason for her departure. Braverman's resignation sparked fury within the right wing of the Conservative Party, who objected to Truss naming Grant Shapps as her replacement. The complaint being that a Prime Minister elected on promises made to the right wing of her party had now U-turned on and apologised for almost all of these promises and ceded power to Tory centrists.
Well, first of all, I have said sorry for the fact that we did act too far. We went too far and too far.
But the final nail in Liz Truss's coffin came during a chaotic vote on fracking at the House of Commons. There were accusations of senior Conservative Party members manhandling potential rebel backbenchers into voting with the government. It was all too much for some Conservative MPs.
I think it's a shambles and a disgrace. I think it is utterly appalling.
So you seem quietly
I'm livid. And, you know, I really shouldn't say this, but I hope all those people that put Liz Truss in number 10, I hope it was worth it.
By Thursday lunchtime, the dam had finally burst, and Sir Graham Brady and other senior Tories were seen arriving at number 10 Downing Street for a meeting with Truss. At 1 p.m. local time, Truss stepped out to resign as leader of the Conservative Party, and therefore as Prime Minister, a matter of mere months since her predecessor Boris Johnson had done the same thing.
I cannot deliver the mandate on which I was elected by the Conservative Party. I have therefore spoken to His Majesty the King to notify him that I am resigning as leader of the Conservative Party.
While Liz Truss has vowed to remain as Prime Minister until a replacement is found, that stint is unlikely to be for very long, as the party has vowed to elect a replacement by Friday, October the 28th. Jeremy Hunt, burned by 2 failed leadership elections, ruled himself out of the race within an hour of Truss's speech. But Rishi Sunak and Penny Mordaunt will almost certainly be gunning for the job. And there is even widespread reporting that former Prime Minister Boris Johnson could make a comeback, though his re-emergence so soon after being ousted following a series of scandals seems unlikely to be the unifying presence many Conservatives crave.
I will remain as Prime Minister until a successor has been chosen. Thank you.